Oh, this is ridiculous. This is so stupid.
What's up, everyone? This is Jason Tucker. This is WPwatercooler. Oh my goodness. This is episode number, I believe it's 331.
We're not tired.
Yeah, we're not tired. Not tired at all. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about WordCamp Long Beach, the future of WordPress. Let's go around the room real quick, get everyone introduced. Jason Cosper, tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm Jason Cosper, and I just discovered the virtual backgrounds feature.
Awesome. How about you, Steve? Tell us about yourself.
I am Steve Zangen. I'm the founder of Zeek Interactive, and I run the OC WordPress meetup.
Say Reed, how about you?
My name is Say Reed, and I make WordPress, teach WordPress, preach WordPress, and I have a GUI aura. Also, I
What? You what?
I also am one of the co-organizers for WordCamp Long Beach, hashtag WPLB, what in the house.
Awesome. How about you, Chris? Tell us about yourself.
Hi, my name's Christiana Moore. My nickname's Chris. I'm a lead organizer for WordCamp Long Beach, and I manage all the money for Los Angeles WordPress Meetup.
Nice. And how about you, Ross?
I'm Ross Guile from DigiCal, and I was doing green screen testing, but I don't want to do it live. We're on the show, but maybe next time I'll have a better background screen for you guys.
Like,
I'm Jason Tucker. You can find me over at Jason Tucker on Twitter. My website is jasontucker.blog. I do this show as well as another show called WP Blab. Feel free to go take a look at that. We do those on Thursdays. Last week we were dark, but next week we're definitely going to be doing some fun stuff. So feel free to go take a look at that. One last thing, this particular show is brought to you by ServerPress, makers of desktop server. You can go over to their website over at serverpress.com and learn about all the fun things that they have going on over there. All right, let's begin. So WordCamp Long Beach is the only WordCamp happening in, is it LA County? Is that correct?
Yeah, so Santa Clarita already happened in April.
Oh, okay, good.
And Los Angeles is not going to happen this year, so Long Beach is the closest thing you got.
Nice.
Yeah, we were actually, I didn't know where Santa Clarita was.
It's my Magic Mountain.
I just believed Chris that she said that, and I was like, oh yeah, sure, totally. But turns out there was one there earlier this year, but no mo. So it's just us hanging out down the street. The same old thing. The last WordCamp. Except not totally the same old thing. Ooh, good segue, say. Not totally the
same. You need to turn off your virtual background. It is really just.
It's like somebody just learned how to use Microsoft Paint, and that's
yeah. It's really bad.
But that is the era we're in where that's cool. I would also like to point out, if anyone's ever seen Harry Potter, that this is like totally like pulling like thoughts out of your brain. And that's what I feel like I'm doing. What is that thing called?
Pensive.
Acid.
Pensive.
So let's talk a little bit about WordCamp Long Beach, and this, you guys are doing something unique in that you're having an entire track just devoted to the future of WordPress. What kind of brought that on?
This one.
Say Mind Palace.
What?
Dave's the troublemaker, it turns out. And now I'm speaking in the third person. That's creepy. Don't do that, me. So, we talk about stuff here on this here little corner of the web on our show, which next month, I'd like to point out, will have been on for 7 years. Just tossing that out there. But in case we were talking about feeling old earlier. So just thought I'd put that out there. But yeah, so we talk about that stuff. And honestly, I feel like we should be having these conversations on a bigger scale. And it seems like whenever we try to have these conversations as a community, some of these conversations came up on the Growth Council, which was like, the secret council of which you should not speak. But we weren't not supposed to talk about it. But then you also it was okay. It wasn't like a secret, but it was like a secret. Anyway, so we kind of talked about it there, but it wasn't public, and maybe there'll be an advisory board where this stuff can get talked about. But, we hint on these topics. We talked about a little bit last week with Jonathan Wold. these kind of bigger things that are affecting WordPress as a software, as a community, as an economic force. And at the end of the day, as a freaking website builder and a content management system, and also as a livelihood for a lot of people. And we don't talk about, like, a lot of these conversations are shut down, or they're held in forums or on a channel in the Make WordPress forum, or they're on this show, which we chat about for like half an hour, and then who knows who watches it. But that conversation doesn't keep going. And we're not having those conversations at WordCamp Long US, which is where I kind of feel like we should be having those conversations, because all the people who are like the major thought leaders are there. But we're not, although we are having a community track there this year, which is kind of stepping a little bit closer to that, which made me excited when that was announced this week. So anyway, I suggested to our team that we kind of have this more philosophical conversation, AKA track Say wants to attend on Sunday, since I have to be there.
Hey, look, that's how most of the tracks come about at WordCamp Orange County, right? We just come up with stuff that we want to hear, and we create tracks around it. That's what you do.
I don't want to talk about any boring business stuff, because, like, Steve's got that handled.
Oh, thanks.
And, I think these are really important, because I'm just doing a whole soliloquy here. That's not normal. Like, I see a lot of really amazing WordPress thought leaders leaving the community because their thoughts are not being heard, because they don't see a path for the future of WordPress. And I am really saddened by that. And I am concerned about the future of WordPress. I love WordPress. I think it's a powerful software. I think it's a powerful community. I think it's something that's really unique. And I don't want to see it go away. I want to see these conversations come out into the open, because this is open source. This is like the whole ethos of the damn software. End rant.
I was like, wait, okay.
Yeah,
take a breath.
We're all playing double dutch here. We're trying to figure out when to jump in.
Go ahead. That's good.
Double Dutch.
We talk honestly about these things on this show, right? And so it is sometimes hard to talk about those things at a WordCamp, because there's rules and things, or guidelines.
There's rules somewhere. I looked at the guidelines, just to be clear.
There's guidelines. You're not doing anything outside the guidelines, right? And so it just, and to be honest, this stuff wouldn't be talked about at US, right? Or Europe. It's just not gonna be, right? You're not gonna get those same speakers there. So I love this. I think this is a great idea. I want to go.
Right? Doesn't it make you want to go and like have these conversations?
Yes. Yes.
I hope I'm not causing too big of a headache for Chris and her leadership role. She's like, hey, what did I get myself into? And I'm like, don't worry, it'll be okay.
Don't worry, just a revolution. No big deal.
It's no problem. It's an open conversation.
I really feel like having these conversations at a place that is not US or not Europe is actually going to lead to some more interesting thoughts and conversations, because you do get the thought leaders at US or Europe and stuff like that, and of course you get plenty of thought leaders as well at Long Beach, I'm sure, but you have a lot of big names in the community at a camp like US, as to where you can kind of take the gloves off a little bit. You can kind of, stretch your legs and your opinions and really get them out there at kind of a lower stakes, camp. Not to say that Long Beach isn't low, isn't
shade.
No. I think that
it's like a backhanded compliment out there.
No, not at all. I think at US, the speakers, whether they're thought leaders or not, are in a different light, right? There's a different spotlight. There's a different lens, right? There's some expectations as to them being a little bit more politically correct, right? Because they're on stage at US or Europe or one of the big WordCamps, where a regional WordCamp, you can get away with a little bit more and have a little bit more raw conversations, right? And so US, to me, and again, I'm not knocking US or Europe for any of the WordCamp organizers, those WordCamp organizers that are listening, right? But US is a little bit more marketing driven, right? And so it's a little bit more PR driven, and so it is scrutinized differently.
Well, and these conversations are happening. That's my point. Like
That's
they
right.
are happening, and people have thoughts about them. They're happening in forum comments. They're happening right now on the thread about the proposal for auto updating old versions of WordPress that's coming out. Like there's all these conversations are being had, but they're being had like really quietly, like over here in this corner, or in this chat thread or on certain tweet threads, and none of it is like really pulling it together and getting, some people in a room and being like, here are some thoughts here. I mean, I'd love to see someone just pulling together, we get the state of the word every year with Matt. And, that's more like the state of the, like where it's going. Like that's the more state of like the plan. That was creepy, Ross.
Yeah.
That's why not to do that. That's why not to do things live.
It's not actually. It doesn't always feel to me like that the state of the word reflects the state of WordPress. It seems like it is a delivery on where we're going. It's more of like an Apple. What are those Apple Talks called? Apple keynote things.
Keynotes, yeah.
Right. That's like what it is for us for WordCamp US, and like. That's great, but like we need some consensus on where we are so we can figure out where we're going.
It's the state of the company, not necessarily the state of the community.
Right.
I mean, I kind of disagree with that because I feel like, and being on the Growth Council, I just made this point in an article that was on the Tavern this past week, is that the companies and the larger companies, WordPress.com, GoDaddy, Bluehost, like all of these companies that are selling WordPress services, essentially, like they're part of the community. And I don't think that Automatic puts tons of money into WordPress. It pays for tons of code developers. And I don't think that Matt is going up there trying to represent the state of WordPress.com or trying to represent the state of Automatic. I think he genuinely is trying to carve a path out for the project. I just think that it's a narrow path, and it's not taking into consideration all of these conversations that are happening, and it's not pulling that together.
I used company more metaphorically. I didn't mean Automatic, right? I didn't
meant like
actual company. I meant
company line.
It's the state, but yeah, it's the state of the corporation, right? It's very corporate speak when you go see the state of the word, right? Here's some stats, right? Here's how much of the internet we've taken over, right? Here's the number of plugins we've got in the repo, right? It's those kinds of things, and it's a
hype talk,
cheerleading session, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Right, but that's very much marketing speak.
But we all go back to our WordPress meetups and we sit here and talk about like that's cool, but like 90% of that had nothing to do with this, or it had nothing to do with that, or it only has to do with the projects that are tied to Automatic itself, or you have any of those types of things, or any of the products that are tied to Automatic itself. So it's like it really just depends on how you're looking at it. But I know from like the meetups that I either have attend or that I co-run, it's like you get those people that come in going like that. None of that stuff matters to me. And it's like it's the same thing with when you're listening to any of the things that happen at like WWDC for the Macs, or even the stuff for with Google. It's like not all that stuff matters to the person using the product. It's just the people that are developing it, when really like the people that are using it are not the developers. Like they're not always developers. It's like people that are developers are using the product, but the people that are actually in that room listening are not the ones that are going to be going to be affected by it. Can
I just add something? So
yeah,
we're going to do WordCamp Long Beach inside the pyramid that's behind Ross's head. If you look at his screen.
Yes.
Oh, hey, that's perfect.
At Cal State Long Beach.
Yeah, so we're doing it at Cal State Long Beach inside.
Perfect place to talk about the Illuminati of WordPress.
Yes.
In the gym.
So there's the gym, and then there's some place called The Point, which is a really nice conference center, but it's kind of small. And they have a really beautiful ballroom that can be cut only in two. So Saturday, we're doing 2 tracks, right? We're doing one for people who are like entrepreneurial and they just do WordPress on their own. And then we're doing a track for people who do WordPress for everybody else, like the, you know, part of their income. And that's our focus Saturday.
Nice.
But Sunday, like we've been talking about, the more abstract, theoretical, future-oriented stuff includes accessibility, because Sunday is a single track. We're cutting down the wall in the ballroom. It's going to be one big track. Sunday impacts everyone, right? So no matter whether you're a hobbyist or an entrepreneur, whether you are a developer and you work for, I don't know, Bluehost or something, Liquid Web, I don't know. You know, Sunday's topics affect everybody. And
I love it.
So hopefully this will, you know, because there's also the retention problem, right? Like a lot of people go home on Sundays, they don't come to WordCamps on Sundays, right? They just take a break. And so hopefully this will encourage people to stay because it affects everyone. And
So,
it really was.
Sunday's my favorite day. And anyway.
This is my like, how can we get Steve to be sure to come on Sunday? How can I make
I always come Sunday's when shit gets done.
Will come down on Sunday.
That's when Steve comes. That's right.
Sunday at WordCamp Orange County is that's my favorite day. That's when the raw stuff happens.
I mean, and that's exactly why, you know, we didn't want to do just like kind of a contributor day or something. And I think this is the right community to do that in, because you know, we have so many communities, so many strong WordPress communities here in SoCal, right? We've got San Diego, we've got Orange County, we've got Ventura and the stuff going up on there. We've got various automaticians that live throughout SoCal.
And Meetup is coming back to LA City because there's going to be a new Meetup chapter at USC's campus starting in September. So I'm really glad because now LA is going to have a Meetup again. Super excited.
Well, and there's stuff that goes on, you know, in downtown and in Pasadena, you know, that people are doing, but also people get burnt out on doing that because it's so fractured. It's like the over, like too much content problem, you know, it's like there's so much content, there's so much Meetup, there's so many things going on that people are like, oh, it's just the same old. So I feel like if we can get even if it's just the Southern California community to come together and, you know, have these conversations both on Saturday and on Sunday, like this is really kind of the what we want to open up to the greater Southern California community, which, you know, WordCamp Orange County does. So we could just call this the fall WordCamp Orange County if we really
I just want to know how much you had to donate to USC to get the meetup into USC.
So that was actually really that was really cool. So sometimes I'll shoot out like meetup emails to like the 2,700 people in LAWP's meetup. Nobody really likes that, but I do it anyway. So I shot out an email and I was like, hey, I manage the money. We have funding for a chapter to start up in another part of LA County. And someone actually reached back and they were like, hey, I work at USC. We can meet there for free. And I was like, oh my gosh, that would be wonderful. So then we collected a pot of people, and 2 people actually work in WordPress at USC, which is amazing. So I'm really stoked. So we didn't have to throw any money at them.
So nobody's going to Lori Loughlin jail then. That's perfect.
Oh.
There will be no members of the rowing team.
I have a bet run.
Aunt Becky will not be there. No. So the you know, that's the interesting thing too, right? Is there are these new meetups starting. There are people who are just getting into WordPress, you know, and just starting to go to meetups. Another point I made earlier this week in an article was just that, you know, there's so many people out there that don't even realize that the community exists. And they're, you know, Sunday might scare them a little bit, but like, I also have found that when I go to WordCamps, the tracks are often, you know, it's like designer and developer tracks. And it's like, the user is like not there, right? It's really geared towards people who make sites for other people. And I've experienced a lot of small business owners who go to WordCamps looking to find out how to better use their site, or what's a plugin that I can use for this, or what should I do about this other, you know, this thing. And they come away just being like, wow, that was really complicated. And that was like all way above my head. And I am scared now, and I'm going to go run away to Squarespace because that seemed like too much. So I also want to encourage people and encourage all of y'all to, you know, consider lighter fare that it might be, but talking just to the user about like how to use your WordPress site and some of those. So it's not necessarily like a beginner track, because often beginner tracks are geared toward developers. And that's like how to, you know, first use the loop or whatever. And it's like, okay, that's for a beginner, but that's a beginner developer. That's not someone who's been using their WordPress site for 4 years and needs to know how to expand its capabilities, you know? So there's a different type of beginner, intermediate, and advanced that I really do not see being served. They're being served at the meetups a lot of the time. And we talked about this on an episode a couple weeks ago, Jason and Ross, about like the questions that you answer at your meetups. But I really don't see those folks being served at WordCamps. And I've heard from people who go to them that they're like, yeah, that was nothing. That was like not useful for me. And every time we do that, we bring these people into the fold and then we don't give them anything that's useful for them. We're basically like turning them away. You know, we're basically like, oh, this isn't for you. WordPress is too complicated. You know, Gutenberg sucks. You should never use it, which is like the main editor. And everyone's like, wait, what? Why can't you just tell me how to use it? Like, don't sit here and tell me how a year ago it was controversial in the community. Those people don't care about that, you know? They just want to know how to best use their WordPress site. And if we as a community did that better, maybe we wouldn't be in this kind of weird situation where, you know, I feel like the market share, even though it may still be growing for WordPress, the mind share of how to build a website, that seems to me to be ebbing away from WordPress because its reputation is not being easy, etc.
So WordCamp Long Beach 2020 with a AMA track.
Well, I mean, someone could do an AMA track for users. I can't speak, so I'm just going to tell everyone all the things that I would like to speak on as an organizer. But like, you know, you could put in an AMA user track. Like, I train users, ask me anything. Like that would be a really cool topic for Saturday.
And we're actually, and like Say's pointing out, a lot of new users and entrepreneurs come, right? And then like that's why the community in Long Beach is so big so quickly, is we have so many entrepreneurs in Long Beach, because Long Beach, that's like what Long Beach is. So they come to Meetup and they want to participate at WordCamp. And so we were like, okay, well, how can we best serve you? So one of the things we did is we're actually having like a really nice table set up for the happiness bar right outside of the main ballroom. And there's a couple tables set up in this little alcove space, and it's really nice. And that is for our happiness bar people to serve all of those beginning entrepreneur hobbyist people who like really need to figure out like why their plugin is broken, right? Like how to adjust the footer, right? So that's going to be running both Saturday and Sunday. So people can take a break from the abstract stuff in the ballroom on Sunday, come out to the happiness bar, be like, okay, like I still have a problem with my footer, you know? And like that's putting that front and center too. I also feel like happiness bars are like, they're over there in a corner in some other room. You can go ask them if you want, but I mean, and this is really the thing. This is about putting the stuff really right in front. Like it's literally like in the middle of the hallway. Like you exit the track rooms, the programming room, and you see the big giant happiness bar area with these like really pretty paintings around of like cherry blossoms or whatever is on the wall. And then like in the same space, you have on the other side, you've got all of the sponsor tables facing the happiness bar. So like everybody's pointed toward happiness. I will be happy.
It's feng shui.
I'm happy just hearing about it.
It's great.
I feel like I haven't seen a front and center happiness bar in years at a WordCamp. Like the last time I remember seeing like a front and center happiness bar was like WordCamp San Francisco. And I know that there have been other camps.
That was a nice happiness bar.
Yes, because it was right when you came in, it was right there. It was just so handy to have people, the first thing that they see is, oh, I can get help with my WordPress site.
Right. And that's exactly what people are like in their minds, right? When they're like, oh, I'm going to go to this WordPress conference. They're like, oh, I can ask somebody. Like, that is the way we build community. That is the way we build WordPress users, you know, and we've really gotten away from that and gotten, like Jason was saying earlier, super inside baseball with all of this stuff, you know, and I love developer tracks. I love all this conceptual stuff, but the conversations like up here in terms of development and like, you know, we're talking about AI and like REST APIs and whatever. And everyone's like, but like Chris was saying,
I just want to bold my words.
My footer. Like, what plugin should I use to do a call to action? Like, come on, people. I just want a button.
and let's be honest. I mean, I'm going to say something that might be a little controversial, but the same developer talks are at all WordCamps, right? You're gonna get a REST API talk at every single WordCamp, right? You're gonna get a Gutenberg talk at every single WordCamp. Do something a little bit different. I think it's great.
And
I do think we should talk about Gutenberg, just for the record.
Yeah, that's true. I think actually I like Gutenberg, but don't hate me. So, but on Sunday and Saturday, one of the big emphases for WordCamp Long Beach is we actually have a professional audiovisual company coming in to record everything and do the work, and we have the funding for that. And then also in case for something, you know, they get hit by a bus, we have a backup pro AV team also. So it's really like saying we really want these conversations to happen, and we're trying everything we can to make sure they get posted on WordPress.tv, and that everybody has access to them, because like you said, there are conversations happening about REST API and everything all the time, and they're you know, they're very similar, but this is going to be new, and there's going to be a lot of them back to back to back, and we're going to try everything we can to make sure that if you can attend, because we'll probably sell out. There's not that many seats. There's quite a few seats, but we'll probably sell out. If you can attend, at least you can see those talks, and they'll be up there, and everybody can access.
And that will hopefully also spur these conversations for the Sunday track to, you know, like these are not just conversations that are just going to be had right there and then die, right? The goal here is that those are, like you said, they're professional microphones, professional recording. Like, we're not like the WordPress TV videos are also front and center. So we're pulling all this stuff front and center that's kind of been pushed by the wayside. And then the stuff on Sunday, like, we want to get those up like really quickly, because this is exactly 1 month before WordCamp US. And if we can get those conversations happening in the room and then get those conversations out there and happening, then my hope is that we will continue those conversations, if not on the stage of WordCamp US, which I obviously weren't, you know, that's not happening, but in the hallway tracks and in the sponsor rooms. And, you know, that's where a lot of that important stuff happens anyway. But I'm really hoping that, for example, if Steve does a talk, that conversation will be like, did you see Steve's talk at WordCamp Long Beach? You know, and
we want Steve.
People will have that central frame of reference to start off from. So I'm hoping that the people who have these thoughts, that, you know, they will know that this isn't just another thread that's going to just disappear into the ether. This is something that we're going to try to really get out there and spark these conversations in a healthy and productive and positive way. We're not trying to nag on WordPress. This is not, you know, we're all super pro WordPress, but I'm of the personal belief that we have to have these conversations in order to support and further the future of WordPress.
You know, I really think, I know it's time for the show to wrap up, but I really think it's a great thing that you're doing as well by hiring this professional AV team, is that you're giving Jason Tucker the weekend off to actually camp, because normally at the West Coast WordCamps, I always see him operating the camera or the boards or something. So given Tucker some time off to enjoy an actual WordCamp and hang out in the hallway.
And also, here's a little fun fact just to end the show. If you come, I'm going to be 24 weeks pregnant, so you should come.
What?
Yeah, that's right. That's my first
You're gonna drop a bomb on us like that? What the heck?
Exclusive. Congratulations.
So come have a conversation with my dual personality, which is now in session.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Say again, Cosper.
I said your other dual personality.
Yeah. Happening.
Well, thank you very much for all of you for coming on the show and hanging out with us. I really appreciate it. We had people in multiple chat rooms coming in here to talk and hang out. Oh my gosh. And we've had lots of folks that are kind of chatting and talking about this. We post this on a bunch of different places on Facebook as well as on Twitter itself. We even stream on all the different live stream gaming channels and all those types of things like that as well. So feel free to go, wherever you're finding us, you can come. Dude, we're on Twitch, Steve, just so you know.
That fangirls, I get all fangirly about being on Twitch. I'm like, we're on Twitch.
Yeah, we're on Twitch.
Next week, I'm just going to be playing Grand Theft Auto the whole time.
Behind you.
All right, folks, you have a good one. Make sure you go to WPwatercooler.com/subscribe, where you can subscribe to this content as well as to our mailing list, where you can be notified that we're doing this show, and you can come on and hang out with us. Talk to y'all later. You have a good one.